Hey folks, what's up? Welcome back to another Polemaster video, and today we have the Sygna, Hilbert, and Genesect dropping layer 9. As usual, we will be pulling for that live, right? So make sure you'll tune in at reset. Hopefully this would be at least as good as the Hilda one, if not better. Because this is definitely a unit that you need a lot of copies for, unfortunately. So anyways, let's get into it. So Sygna, Hilbert, and Genesect is very good. For multiple reasons. Number one, Technoblast changes types. It could change to, passive. It could change to fire, water, electric, ice, or bug, depending on the opponent's type. Obviously, you look at some of those as like fire, water, electric. Who cares? All right, fair. But still, I mean, it's a lot of different types, right? And at least ice and bug generally are not that good in the game. So. It also lowers the opponent's type rebuff of that type by 1 rank the first time the user's attack move against that target is successful each battle. You only do get only 1 type rebuff, but I mean, that's still something. I mean, like what, water, bug, ice, and electric don't have rebuffs yet, so this is their first rebuff unit. Again, it sucks that it's only -1, but it's still something, right? So still something. On top of that, yeah, it changes the Technoblast obviously to no, we already talked about that. Bug shift as well, so the Technoblast can hit for bug right outside of all the different drives. So yeah, you also have special defense debuffs, which is nice. Dire hit plus, and then relatively self-sufficient offensive buffs there too, with extra super duper effective up or super effective up next. Sync Nuke is based on the opponent's special defense being lowered, so that's good. Yeah, as for some other things, I mean, nothing in its stats really stand out too much. Special attack is good. Speed is alright, but not great. And defenses are kind of whatever. Alright, so, yeah, it's basically, you get this one unit, you get, what, 5 different types out of it, and 5 different type rebuffs as well, right? Especially for something like ice, right? Because like ice doesn't have like a zone/terrain yet, and this definitely helps a lot of the ice types. Although unfortunately all the ice type units still suck. like people say, oh, like I was talking about like Getsus, right, yesterday, because Getsus, let's be real, sucks. Base Getsus is terrible. The extra grid expansion doesn't make him that much better, right? And people say, oh, what about, he gets ice zone or ice rebuff. Well, yeah, he get it, but it still doesn't make him good, right? Compared to like a lot of other different types and units that have their zones and rebuffs. We just don't have that many great ice type damage healers, right? In the game, including the upcoming ones as well. So ice type is still in a bit of a tough spot, unfortunately. But yeah. Yeah, I mean, he overall could do some solid damage, right? Although the damage, the numbers that you see could be a bit deceptive on the dock, just because he is calculated generally with the rebuffs, and all the other units of the same type aren't. So his numbers might seem a bit deceptively high, but they're still not bad overall, right? They're still not bad. And like the good thing about him is like other units that maybe, don't have the rebuff calculated into them. And sure, they could do more damage if they also had Genesect on their team to help them get the rebuff, but also you have to consider certain team comps, right? For example, the Getsus example is a good one, right? Yeah, you could add Genesect to the team and give Getsus the rebuff, but what are you taking out? You're taking out, probably someone who could help with Getsus multipliers, whether it's like a Dojo Gloria, or someone who could help, max out Getsus' stats, right? Like some special support, and then boom, you're just losing out a huge chunk of like Getsus' damage elsewhere. So give or take, right? So some units, even though their damage might seem Hilbert's not that much better, you just add Hilbert to the team, and boom, these other units' damage go up to. Well, yeah, it's just some units don't have that luxury because of team composition, right? It's not like, Hilbert, here's like a support, and you go in and just like take out a support, and boom, gives your damage dealer both the offensive support on top of the rebuffs. You know, you can't do that, right? So yeah, even though his damage might be just slightly deceptively high, it's still really, really nice just because he could do it all himself, right? You could just see it's yeah. he get everything, well, mostly everything, on his own for the most part. So it's good, man. It's good. So anyways, all right. In terms of how many copies you have to pull for him, all right. Just obviously the base kit is the base kit. His base kit is pretty good. I won't say it's crazy good because there's to be fair, there's definitely a lot of other great stuff elsewhere on his grid. All right, so his base kit is all right, and enough for what you need him to do generally. But I would say, yeah, you probably want to look more into his grid. So all right, 2 out of 5. 1 out of 5 in terms of grid wise. There's nothing too much here. Just few Technoblast power-ups, right? Few stat. There's not even any really good stat power-ups, honestly. All right, 2 out of 5. What do you have? So you have like all of these, which is like a different debuff, right? For different types. For fire, you got physical attack debuff. For bug, you have special attack debuff. For water, you have physical defense debuff, right? And stuff. You got super duper effective 1 here. What else? Insect power 1, insect acceleration 2, among other things. And move gauge refresh on Technoblast, whatever. And yeah, 3 out of 5 is where we get obviously most of the rest of the kit. Sync move power up here, right? Static brush 9, which is the paralysis one if you're electric. So a lot of these do really work well with their respective types. I guess the one that doesn't work too well is like the weakening fire. Not a lot of fire type units really utilize, having the opponent's physical attack lowered. It's like what, like Reshiram? Right, there's not too many outside of that, right? But yeah, stuff like Water Crush, like these are really useful, I'd say, more so. I mean, this, you could utilize that alongside with Alder. Anyways, right, because he has like overpower, devastation, all that stuff, right? Brain power is obviously very, very good. It's a really easy to get sync nuke, and his nuke is pretty good too. And ripple effect for metal sound is nice if you want to make it AoE, I guess. Although generally, I don't really see too much use for this. Super freebie is 30%. I mean, just make a team with better gauges. I don't know. So yeah, brain teaser here as well. That's another big one, right, in terms of multipliers. So yeah, he definitely has a lot of really, really nice multipliers that you could pick up. And moving on, 4 out of 5. Team Sharp entry is good. Okay, I take back you can't support his team at all. You could give your team +1 crit, which is not nothing. But at 4 out of 5, you do have that. And then super slowing hit, which is a very, very weird name. But yeah, debuff opponent's speed by 2 when you hit super effective, which can definitely be nice for certain units, I suppose. I guess you could use this to like help Getsus. Although, it's gonna be really, really tough. Gauges wise, right? Well, we'll see. We could try it out. What else? Okay, 5 out of 5 is where you have the big one. This is a unit where you kind of want the 5 out of 5, not gonna lie. Again, I do not recommend people pulling for the 5 out of 5. Honestly, 3 out of 5, you get decent enough stuff, right? But I would say at least you want 3 out of 5, right? For this unit, because 3 out of 5, you do get definitely a lot of really, really nice multipliers. Again, he's totally functional at 1 out of 5, but 3 out of 5 really does make him a lot better. And 5 out of 5, unfortunately, does make him a lot better as well. Mostly because you have an extra Hilbert's aim up here, which instead of -1 rebuff, boom, now you have -2 rebuff, which is pretty big deal. It's like 20%, right? And obviously that applies for your entire team that hits the opponent with the rebuff. So this one's kind of big. I'm sorry. And then you have Cakewalk, which is a pretty big nuke there as well. So Yeah, this is a unit you want 5 out of 5. It's definitely a unit you want 5 out of 5. Again, not necessary. But if you do have the extra gems or the extra move candy, you could aspire for a 5 out of 5. Don't have to get it immediately right away. You know, maybe just wait on dailies or whatever. But or you know, in the future with move candies. But this is a unit you want 5 out of 5, man. 5 out of 5 note is really good. Might be the best one yet. Purely 5 out of 5, not in terms of 4 out of 5. So although 4 out of 5 would be really useful for the extra cakewalk, help the cakewalk multiplier. But although honestly, you're better off not doing that and just having someone else help you instead. Now think about it, just energy wise, right? But yeah, this is 5 out of 5 node. As much as I don't like admitting it, but it does. Objectively, the 5 notes are really good, unfortunately. So yeah, is this a unit you should pull for? I would say yes, unless you're a big hater and you really don't like Genesect or Hilbert. But this is definitely a unit worth pulling for, in my opinion. Again, you're getting a lot worth just from one unit, right? Again, rebuff is basically like zone, right? I mean, literally, if you could get him 5 out of 5, the rebuff you get from him literally equals the zone multiplier, right? Zone / weather / terrain, whatever, right? It's still the same 1.5 times. They're both 1.5 times, right? So here's your ice zone, right? It's the same as ice zone once ice zone comes out. Like yeah. In terms of numbers wise, it's the same numbers wise. Although he could only apply it once, so if you are fighting something like a legendary gauntlet, right, after the first bar of the opponent's HP, it's gonna be gone, which slightly sucks because like generally I feel like if it's like weather, terrain, rebuff, all this stuff, you kind of want to use it on second bar, maybe sometimes the third bar. Although I generally do feel like third bar for legendary gauntlets usually the easiest one, just because your team is relatively built up by then, right? Got quite a few sync buffs and damages are relatively high. But yeah, generally I'd say the second bar is where you really want to use it. And it would be a bit tough for Genesect to do that, unfortunately. So that is definitely a 1L for him, right? But otherwise, he's a very good unit. Again, he even though it looks that way, but it is a bit deceptive in terms of his damage, right? In the dock. But even if he's not, the best damage healer in all these types, he's still decently good of a damage healer. Right, and then again, obviously with the rebuffs, it helps make your team so much better, right? So, yeah, I almost want to say this is a no-brainer, but on the other hand, if you really want the full potential of Genesect, he is kind of expensive to fully unlock, right? Kind of expensive, which sucks, which really sucks, in my opinion. But the unit is good, right? I'd give this a solid 9 out of 10. Again, if you want to pull for something like Hilda instead, sure, you go for that. But personally, I'd say if you were to ask me to pick between like Hilda and Hilbert and who else is there? Oh, I mean, it's 2 spotlights and it's like what? The EVs and SSN. Yeah, no. I'd say priorities would either be Hilbert or Hilda. These two are like easily above and beyond like everyone else this month, right? It's a really big gap between them and like the next best units. Probably like the evolutions, which are good. The evolutions are nice, but Hilda and Hilbert are so much better, right? So yeah, you could go for either Hilda, you could go for either Hilbert. Again, I personally would suggest Hilbert a bit more just because of he's more versatile, right, in terms of and it's just more like you're getting more bang for your buck for this one unit. Although on the other hand, you could argue Hilda basically gets almost everything at 1 out of 5, and then this he kind of you really want that 5 out of 5 or at least 3 out of 5, right? To get a lot of his kit. Because, yeah, the damage difference between 1 out of 5 and 5 out of 5 is pretty massive for him, unfortunately. So, yeah, I guess that's also one consideration, right? But it's worth it, man. I'd say even 1 out of 5 is worth it. Even if you're just getting for him for like the extra rebuffs, right? It would definitely help out your bug types, your water, electric, fire, and ice types, right? To the extent that ice types can be helped. But yeah, it's a good unit, man. It's a good unit. Again, I still kind of have a nagging feeling that this month is still a bit of a bait month, so I wouldn't say just blow all your gems this month, right? Don't like go around summoning on all these banners unless you're just a huge fan of these, which is fine. But otherwise, just keep that in mind, I guess. But of all the units this month, I would say this is probably one to go for. But anyways, yeah, that's been this one, I guess. Hope y'all enjoyed. Guys, think in the comments down below. Like, enjoy the videos for our channel for some more Pokemon content. Good luck, guys, are pulling, and again, we will be pulling for him live later tonight when he drops. So hopefully that goes well, and have fun, folks, and I'll see you guys in the next one then.